Wade Dearly. Wade. He is a social science chairperson at the community college. Then we have Melvin Daniels. Melvin is with State Farm. He's going with Garland County State Farm. Greg Craig is the SAG vice president again, and that's Student Government Association, I think. And Brian Smith, purchasing agent. Turn around. Wave at everybody. Also with the Chamber of Commerce, he's chairman of the Greater Chamber of Commerce. They have the questions that they're going to ask. The first series will be the Garland County Sheriff. Then about 6:35 we'll have District 4. We'll take about a 10-minute recess depending on whether we're on time, and then we will have the folks to go. So we're going to start out with the first question is going to be given to Mike, Mr. McCormick, and Brian, you're going to ask the first question. So go.
Mr. McCormick, when you read the local paper, theft of personal property seems to be a daily occurrence. What is your strategy to reduce this and other crimes with current budget and personnel?
My goal is test. My goal as your sheriff is very simple. I want to make Garland County as safe a place to live as I possibly can. What's not quite so simple is how am I going to achieve that? We've got an escalating crime problem in Garland County that has continued for many, many years. The foundation of what I will do to make Garland County safer is increasing the law enforcement presence on the streets and in the communities. Not only this, but we've got to increase our presence within the Criminal Investigation Division so we can properly prepare the cases, present them to the prosecutor, and get convictions in court. But it goes even deeper than that. We've got to start with well-trained deputies. One of the first things I'll do is look within the department and make sure we have prioritized our manpower so we've got the maximum presence of law enforcement officials in Garland County. And that is the key. We've got an issue with domestic violence. We need to focus real heavily on that. We need to make sure that our deputies are well trained to intervene early on so people don't end up seriously injured or killed. And of course, we have a serious and prevalent drug issue in Garland County. And I'll get into a little more detail on that in one of the next questions.
All right, Mr. Hawthorne, the same question.
We obviously can't raise our budget. We can't raise the current budget full force as the money's not there. And I believe it. I've looked over the budget. This is the 2014 budget for Garland County Sheriff's Department Detention Center we currently have. But we can be tougher. We can reorganize what we have, the officers we have in there, administrative staff inside. And there we go. Now it's working. We can create volunteer programs to help us. Many of you walk every day for daily exercise in your neighborhoods. Let's teach you how to be safer, how to look for things, and if someone's approaching you, what to do, how to get away from them if you think you need to. Let's teach you how to help us. Let's bring the community in to help the department. We've slipped on that over the years. Our neighborhood watch programs are not what they need to be. We need to change that. We cannot do that without community involvement. Not only do I need you to help me win this, but I need you after January the 1st so we can change Garland County. We have to have you for that. The other thing we can do is on our patrol division, we're going to increase our reserves there, but also in the criminal investigation division, we're going to create a reserve program in there to help solve these crimes we're not having time to solve. Our investigators are getting 40 to 50 new cases a month. They can't handle them. Reserve officers that have been retired criminal investigators and just patrolmen too can come in and work as reserves of the criminal investigation division and help us tremendously for free. They're 60, 70 years old, they're retired, they don't want to wear a uniform, but they're still willing to help. I have a list of them that's already ready, and they want to come in and help. And that's involving the community and bringing knowledge that's already out there going to waste back to work. I'd appreciate y'all very much to help us with that program once we get going. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harko. Mr. Neighbors, same question, please.
It's over.
I don't know. Can you hear me? Switch to the very top. That's all.
Got blood coming in my ears, but it's okay. There's been a couple of things been hit on this from the guys here. And the thing is you have to get a little bit tough with what we got. We have to get our patrol cars off the main road back into the subdivisions. They got to get out off these highways, get the subdivisions and drive around. And they have to pay attention to what's going on. They have to turn the stereos off, and they have to get off the cell phones. Sorry, but you see them driving around, you're on the cell phone, you ain't paying attention to anything. All right, now, Mr. Holler hit on the neighborhood watch program. Back when I was with the sheriff's office, we had a very active neighborhood watch program for the county. We set up a number of neighborhood watch programs. I went out and talked to them, taught them how to do everything. We had a contact person at the sheriff's office that they could contact if they had any problem. The contact person at the sheriff's office would also contact the neighborhood watch groups if something came up that they needed to let the neighborhood watch groups know about it. You've got to have your community involved. You also have to have these officers go out and keep the neighborhood watch group going. And they have to tell people how to make themselves safe. They have to tell them, don't leave your purse in the car at home with the doors unlocked. Don't leave your checkbook in the car. Don't leave cash laying around. You gotta help teach the people to watch out for themselves. And the neighborhood watches, all it is a neighbor watching out for a neighbor. And it's been that way for hundreds of years. And that's the way it's got to be. You got to get people back involved with each other. And thank you.
All right, the second question will start with Mr. Hawthorne and will be asked by Wade. We might want to repeat the question to him a couple times so the audience knows what it is.
Mr. Hawthorne, I'll start with you and then Mr. Neighbors and Mr. McCormick. The question is this: conventional wisdom implies that much of our crime in the county is due to substance abuse. If elected, how would you address substance abuse and related crimes?
Well, there's several things we got to do. One, we got to push our drug task force and all of our officers to do more. There's no question. I've already told the officers, I'm going to work you. I'm going to work hard, you're going to work hard throughout the whole department. But back to our neighborhood watch, back to getting the people involved. We've got to get them involved. This new detention center we're building is awesome. We've got 11 different programs through that detention center for different rehab, different type programs for depending on the age and the crimes. Looking over them last night. This detention center, some of these programs, we're going to be able to get these people in school, in the college here, get their GEDs in technical schools. And if they do well there, we can reduce their sentence a little bit or reduce their probation. Encouragement. Back to our volunteers. We're going to have volunteers to help follow up these people, not just when they get through with the college, but when they get a job, or they keep in the job, or they're keeping their families together. Some family counseling. We've got to get this in that manner because just catching them and putting them in jail hasn't worked. We've got to try something new. The new detention center is going to give us that opportunity. We have a full-time program director, and I've worked a lot with her, and she's got a lot of good programs going. It's been used across the nation in different places. We got to tweak them, make them work for Garland County. And I believe that will help us keep the revolving door from revolving. That's the only way you're going to stop it. It's a mindset. It's not the drug abuse or alcohol. We have to change people's mindsets or we haven't done anything. And that's what we've got to work on with all school, courts, law enforcement, churches, and civic organizations, the colleges. Let's work together to change people's mindsets and get them off of not just drugs, alcohol at all. Thank you.
Mr. Davis, same question to you. Would you like for me to repeat it? Okay. Conventional wisdom implies that much of our crime is due to substance abuse in the county. If elected, how would you address substance abuse and related crimes?
We've got the new detention center, and they're talking about doing programs. Hello? I'm on.
Here you go. Sorry.
Now, can you hear me? All right. Now, where were we? Did I get to start over? Okay. Now, one of the things is they talk about the new detention center having the programs and things for the people that get in, be put in jail. That's great. But I think we need to go back to getting them earlier. We need to go back to getting our programs implemented in the schools at a younger age, get them before they get into the trouble and have to do the rehabilitation. I implemented the Be a Winner program in all the county schools back a number of years ago. That was a great program, self-esteem, anti-drug program, and it worked great for a number of years. It got to a point, though, that we wasn't getting into the schools because the curriculum at the schools was so busy, they didn't have time to put that hour into it. I think we're going to discuss that, get back in, get the kids at a younger age. We've got to get them younger and teach them, the right ways to do things, and that the police are not the bad guys to start with. So, we got to start, doing different things. We have to work with our drug task force also in getting them stricter on stuff. We've got the new detention center. We can hold a few more people and don't have the revolving door like Mr. Holland was talking about. So, we have to change things a number of different ways. But first of all, we got to get our kids to know what is right and how to do it. So, okay. Thank you.
Mr. McCormick, same question to you. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, I've got it. Once again, a safer Garland County is what the sheriff is all about. The number one issue that affects safety is the prevalent drug problem that we have in Garland County. I worked narcotics 25 years ago. And at that time, it wasn't a fraction of where we are at today with the rampant abuse of drugs. This is truly a cultural or a community problem, and it's got to be fought at that level. Law enforcement is part of the community, and I think strict law enforcement is something that we have to maintain, but we need to work smarter and more efficiently. Where the solution really begins is in the home, with the parents, with open communication with their children on all different levels concerning drug abuse. It needs to continue in the school setting on a regular basis. I was also very involved with that over the years. But when those interventions have failed, we've got to make sure we've got the proper rehabilitation and treatment available. The new detention center that will be opening up is part of the solution. We do have all the programs, and we're going to be closely monitoring those programs to see which ones are more effective. We need to continually work towards making our community drug-free or as close as we can get. Once we resolve the drug issues, we'll see the crime rates come down. Once we see the crime rates come down, we see economic development and everything else go up.
Next question will be brought to you by Greg. We will start with Mr. Neighbors.
Mr. Neighbors, with the construction of the new detention center reaching completion, many changes are coming to the sheriff's office. Tell us how you are qualified to deal with the budget and management responsibilities of the sheriff's office and the new facility.
Okay. I'm home now? I was fortunate enough to be in the sheriff's office for over 22 years. 18 years of that, I was a supervisor, and I was also able to work under 3 different sheriffs, helping them with the budgets over those years. So I have sat in on the budget meetings. I have sat in on different staff meetings that we have about that, how to work with finances and things at the sheriff's office. And as a supervisor, you also have a budget that you have to work with, and you have to do the same thing with your budget. You have to figure out what you're going to use for the next year. And as a training officer, I had a number of different ways to do things. I had, I was responsible for ammunition, targets, training classes, and how to, do that. So you have to schedule your, learn how to schedule things also. But at the sheriff's office, when you run out of funds, you don't have someplace else you can go get the funds. You have to make sure you've got it from the form court for that year, and you've got to keep in your guidelines. And like I said, I was very fortunate to work under 3 great sheriffs that I could, gain information from on that. Well, I don't need to start anything else.
Mr. McCormick, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thanks. I have 30 years in local law enforcement. My career started at the sheriff's office as a jailer. I was hired shortly thereafter at the police department, where I served the remainder of my time, retiring a couple of years ago. And during that period of time, I worked my way through the ranks, practically every rank you can hold within the department, including interim chief before I retired. I also worked in every division of the police department and every job a person could work. I have a lot of experience. I have a bachelor's degree. I've managed an $11 million budget. I've supervised 137 employees. I have the experience. The sheriff's department has a budget and a manpower force almost equal to what I manage at the police department. I'm a proven leader, a proven supervisor, and much of my in-training education at the PD was associated with leadership and supervision. So this is nothing new to me.
Mr. Hawthorne, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thank you. No matter what you have, education-wise, in our years in service, we all have numerous years, it's what you're going to do with it. And that's what I bring to the table here. I have worked with everyone in the department there, worked in the detention center that we now have. I've kept up with the new detention center as it's being built, our new chief deputy over it, the other administrators over it. So I'm very familiar with this detention center, very familiar with working on the budget on it, what can be at this time. Of course, again, the budget for 2014, go over it. This is not one budget. We talk about a budget. It's like 11 budgets. And each department head works on their budget, and it's up to the sheriff and his chief deputy to go over them. With this, the detention center is your largest portion. We have a professional man hired as a financial director now to go over this detention center budget. He creates the grants, he creates it all. I believe that my management capability is the fact that I do one thing, like Sam Walton always said, you surround yourself with people smarter than you. And that's one thing I work harder on, because I take my level here, I try to find people that can do better than I can in different areas so that we can work together as a team. So that we take our budget, we take all aspects of the sheriff's department, and we work together as a team to make them better for the community. We involve the community in our programs too. And that makes us better management. Thank you.
Just for your FYI, there is seating outside, and they have it on television outside if some of you get tired of standing. There are seats available If you'll take a look, there's 2 seats down here, there's one over here. Raise your hand if you got a seat next to you, that we can get some of these folks, but please sit down so you don't have to stand the whole time. All right, now we're going to have a wrap up. They have 2 minutes to wrap up. I'm going to ask each one of them to go through a 2-minute elevator speech of why they should ask for your vote and why you should vote for them. We'll start with Mr. McCormick, then Mr. Hawthorne, then Mr. Neighbors. So Mike, take away.
Thank you. I'm running as an independent candidate because I believe partisan politics has no place in community policing. Our judges and our prosecutors Thank you.
Start over.
Give me a little extra time. Independent candidate, our judges, prosecutors, are non-partisan associated. Just kidding. Law enforcement is nonpartisan. Politics should not play a role when it comes to who the sheriff is. And that's why I'm running as an independent candidate. But let's not make any mistake about this. Every aspect of the sheriff's department falls squarely upon the sheriff. The detention center, CID, patrol, every civilian employee working there. The security of Garland County falls squarely on the shoulders of the sheriff. I'm asking you to pay very close attention to this election because it may very well be the most important local election that you vote in. Look at the qualifications. Look at the experience. And select the person that you think can make Garland County as safe as it can possibly be. I think you'll find there's no comparison when you compare the various candidates. Thank you.
I think a big difference is, if you look at the very first brochures we ever put out, my team and I, it not only listed my qualifications, but listed things we're going to do. Things we're going to do as a group, as officers at the Sheriff's Department, the civilians at the Sheriff's Department with us, but also listed things we're going to do in the community, what the community is going to do with us. You have got to tell what you're going to do. It's not just about who we are, what we've been. It's about what we're going to do, what we're going to do for the community. This department belongs to the community. It doesn't belong to us. It doesn't belong to the sheriff. He's just responsible for running it. And I joke and tell people, yes, my salary will go up, but probably about an hour will go down. But I am a worker, raised in a business that we work numerous hours. My father's meat packing business. Hours means nothing to me, but what's important is to take care of this community. Ladies and gentlemen, I can do that. I can steer that department because you're our steering, because we have many people there that are good officers. With just a little direction, they're going to be better officers. We're going to offer them programs that's never been offered before. And I believe with your help, we can make this one super sheriff's department. But again, we're back to our community. That's what it all amounts to. My involvement in this community has been for years. 4-H, through the Mountain Patrol, Search and Rescue. That's all volunteer, that's all out of our pocket, expense-wise. Not just mine, but every member of the Mountain Patrol, Search and Rescue, it's out of their pocket. Sheriff's Department, nothing. For fuel, horses, trucks, trailers, anything we do, we go all over the state, even called Oklahoma. But it's because we're committed. And that's what you have to be to run this department. You have to be committed to the community forever. Thank you. You're up.
You're up.
Mr. Michael.
You're up, Mr. Neighbors.
Okay. Roland talked about it. Everybody talks about the dedication and everything. I was with the county for over 22 years. That was my dedication. My service, my entire law enforcement career has been with the county. I live in the county. I've lived there in the same home in the county for 38 years now. Don't tell me I ain't committed to this county. Now, one of the things is you've got to have somebody that is able to make the decision that's going to have to be made. There's got to be some changes made in order to run this county the way it needs to be run. The people in Garland County deserve better. Now, I am a decorated United States Army veteran. I can make some tough decisions. Does being a veteran qualify you carte blanche to be sheriff? No, it don't. But it does give you the ability to make some decisions when you have to make them and stick with them. You work with what you have. That's what, I am a firm believer in leading by example. I'm a firm believer in a chain of command, and it has to go down. Your supervisors has to work down with everybody. And you can say you're going to do everything you want, but if you don't have the right people in there under you to do what you tell them to do, it's not going to get done. And you better have the guts to put them on their butts when they don't do what they're supposed to do. That's what it's got to be, it's going to get down to be a tough deal. Whoever gets this sheriff's deal better be able to make some tough decisions because it's going to take. Thank you.
Hold a big hand for the guys. They will be outside after we get concluded at about 8 o'clock. So, again, there's some chairs available, so if you